Well, 5.3 and the T56 are here for the Monte. That's cool. Brennan just unloaded them with the crane. And I'm just chilling here because I decided to go break my leg at work the other day. So I'm not going to be much help. But I'll try and get some footage and help where I can. But probably going to get this mocked up maybe today. Don't know if we're going to do anything with the Nova or not at this point. This just kind of screwed up all our plans, so we're going to try and get done what we can, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll probably try and get these bolted together at least. We got the adapter plates for LS to small block engines here, and then over there we have the solid small block Chevy style motor mounts that we will put in the factory style location. So we'll have some adjustability with these, but we don't really know how much yet. This will make it super nice to go in and out if we do need to move those around. So that's what we're going to get on to right now, and we'll probably set up the camera and try to see if we can't get some of this going. So yeah, not gonna lie guys, feel pretty helpless at this point. Literally this happened yesterday, so it's hurting pretty bad. We will soldier on. This will still happen. It'll just be a little delayed. So we'll try and get the adapter plates on here. Get this thing ready to set in. Here's the adapter plates. They go on like so. Got bolts and such for those as well. Cheapo stuff, man.
Either way, whichever way.
Can't be that way. Well, I guess.
Whichever way we put it, work out, honestly.
Yeah.
We got so much stuff
So you've heard of the Dirty Dingo mounts that everybody uses. These are the El Cheapo mounts. But they look like they'll be just fine for what we're doing, to be honest with you. If not, we'll get different ones. Yeah, that's the gist of it, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get this side, the other side put on, and then we will be ready for the actual mounts to go on there. got this mount bolt in, got everything slid in there, trans is on, everything like that. You just saw that mount over there is not lined up quite right. It's about a bolt hole off. I mean, the back side's a little better, but looks like we might have to slide that engine mount out or down. Maybe slide that one. Brought that one up and bring it farther away. It doesn't look like it's sitting bad where it's at. No, it's pretty close, and I mean, you could go back a little farther. I got those mounts. The mounts are in the back holes. Yeah. I could. Yeah. Well, we might end up moving the mounts on the engine up to the front holes to get this slid back. Like I said, guys, these are the cheapest mounts that we could get, so we knew we were probably going to run into problems, but we're trying to keep this super cheap for you guys so you know how cheap you can do stuff like this. But we will probably have to modify where the mounts sit over there or over here, one way or the other, to accommodate what we got going on. So we will figure out what we need to do, and we will do it, and then we will show you what we did to kind of fix that. And then we'll get this put back in again and show you kind of how we're gonna get it all mocked up in here. But we knew we were probably gonna have some issues somewhere, but we just wanted to see how bad we were gonna be, and it doesn't really seem that bad right now. We should be pretty quick and easy fixes and get it slapped back in here and figure out where we need the hole for the trans. And
There's so much room in this thing, it's unreal.
He's sitting in there, the engine's in here.
You could put it, and I'm not a small dude. You could put 2 starters in on this side. There's so much room.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
there's all that room right there for a starter, wiring. I mean, if we were cool, we'd put downpipes on it, but we're going right out the hoods.
The only thing I see that we might run into, and actually, if we move the engine to the, or the mounts to the front, it might make it better or worse, I don't know. But where the steering shaft is, we're gonna have forward facing either headers or manifolds, obviously, to go to our turbos. But even if we run like a truck manifold, that shouldn't be a problem at all. But if we run like a if we run like a turbo header, even still shouldn't even really have a problem. But that's the only thing I see that's anywhere near that engine. I mean, we got all kinds of room. So, and it even looks like, I mean, the truck pan is fairly low, but it's really not terrible. We should be okay with that. We might run something under the cross member to kind of cover it. Obviously the car is jacked up, so we'll know a little more when we set it down, but we are hoping that we're gonna get away with that. But yeah, overall not looking too bad. So we're gonna get this figured out and fix it and try to get it mocked up again here and see if we got it all fixed up.
That's probably good. Pick it up just a little bit, JT. That's good. Hold up, Dad. Push the jack. Set it down, JT. Well, we are back in the shop today. We got crippled over there. We got the new parts in. New parts, new used old parts, but I brought the intake and stuff over so we can set it on to make sure it clears the said firewall. But I've got the transmission jacked up. It is up against the floor pan on the transmission tunnel. It's centered, it's in there, but I set the cross member up here last night And if you look, the transmission looks like it might need to go up a little bit to sit on the cross member, and the factory cross member might work if we get the transmission to sit up a little bit, but I think we're gonna have to cut it and weld it to get the mount to fit. But other than that, it sits in here pretty good, which it's an LS swap, you know, what doesn't fit in there. So we got a different oil pan because the oil pan sits quite low in there, but it's I know the car is jacked up, so the suspension's not down, but it sits probably 3 or 4 inches below the cross member. So we we got, I mean, looking at this car, they're all the same, pretty close to it, but I mean, it hangs a little bit. Well, actually the oil pan doesn't hang much, but you can see there's only like 5 inches under there, maybe, anyways. So with that oil pan on the Monte hanging 3 to 4 inches below, we're most likely gonna run into issues. So I've had a buddy and we went and picked up an F-body pan. It is a lot more shallow, and I think this will actually work out pretty good here because we're way far behind the cross member. So we'll get that cleaned up. We're gonna pick the engine up and try to make these mounts work. We're gonna cut some flat steel and set it on there, because if we go any farther forward, it hits the steering on the oil pan. So we're gonna try to raise it up just a little bit, get the new oil pan swapped over, and go from there. So look at that. Well, we got this thing in here again. We have the F-body pan on, sitting pretty good in there, not gonna lie. We got a little bit of clearance issues here, but we got it scooted back and we don't think it's gonna bother it. That is also fully tilted already, so it ain't gonna come any closer to that. This side is clear as can be. I mean, there's plenty of room right through there. Plenty of room through there. I mean, there's just tons of room in general, but we're gonna go ahead and tack these on there, and maybe we'll decide to drill holes, or maybe we won't, but we're gonna tack it in there and get it sitting straight so it don't move. We're gonna pull it back out and probably weld them for good, and maybe drill them if we're feeling froggy. But we got plenty of space back here, so should be good to go. I'm gonna set up this camera so you guys can see a little bit of the welding, so we can look cool and stuff, and then we'll go from there. Well, we're back. We've got these motor mounts welded and bolted, so we're overachievers there. I'm not a professional welder by no means, but I think they'll stick. So, but we got them welded on. I tack welded the bottom on. I tried welding that side, but that didn't go so good. But I went ahead and drilled a hole and put a pretty decent sized bolt in there. But we are going to set this baby back in here and move on to the transmission mount, hopefully. So got to get all this fine leather, pleather, whatever you want to call it, crap out of here, and we'll cut a floor for that fancy transmission right there. But there we go. Say see you later. What? Down a little more. Now you can go out. Ratchets sitting on the back of the cylinder head slowly getting cut. You can hear it like every time. You're good. Go forward and down. There it went. You can go down. Alright, stay right there. I'll jack the transmission up. Maybe I can do it from up here. Literally just shredded.
Epic foreshadowing.
Go down a little. A little more. A little more. Alright. We'll go up. Only a 200-pound rated just strap. Not bad. Yeah, we'll have to go up and over it. We'll have to go up and over it. Yeah. I can go down. Try to put this one in first, maybe. Go up just a touch. Yep. Alright, now we can go down just a touch. I have to go perfect. There it sits. Just like we left it 4 times ago. But it's not too bad right there. Plenty of room for whatever we want to do. We'll probably get rid of some of these studs because if this car ever becomes fancy, vintage air, fancy stuff. But my beautiful welds, beautiful. And yeah, plenty of room for everything. That's probably where we'll get our oil pressure from if we don't decide to get it from there. And then we'll figure out how to run the drains, the turbos, which we might poke them up right here just a little bit out of the hood area and just drain them into the valve covers because that's easy. And then, yeah, we're gonna try and get this transmission hole cut in that vicinity. Go from there. Just like that. Should come right up in there. It's down on the jack right now, but we should be able to jack that up. Might have to take a little more out of this side right here and maybe a little bit more out of these edges, but pretty close to in the center. I like to call myself a redneck. There we go. We are ready to drive. Put an intake on this car and a drive shaft, and we're ready to ride. But we got the hole cut for the shifter. It actually turned out pretty good. Of course, we'll have to do a little trimming there. It's also jacked all the way up so we can get the cross member kind of fitted. Speaking of the cross member, we're gonna have to make something up because I didn't realize it, nor did JT, which is kind of hard to when he's chilling. But this cross member is rusted and broke the ear off the end of it. So we're gonna make our own, because why not? Out of some square tubing probably, because I think I know I have some of that at the house, and it'll be a little bit more rigid than flat steel, you know, because we're gonna be making big power. We don't want to break nothing. So, but we'll have to step it down a little bit, because when you hang the cross member in there, if it's perfectly straight across, trans is still gonna have to come down about 1 inch. But if we have 2-inch square tubing, we step it down 2 inches, set it above the frame. It should be about perfect. You know, I'm pretty good with math, right? So, but trans will be about 1 inch lower than it is. That'll give us perfect drive shaft angle, perfect ride and spec. And yeah, but you can see from down here that the oil pan no longer sits below the cross member. It's actually above the cross member about 1/2 inch, you know. So that is pretty impressive that an F-body pan fits a T56 like it's supposed to. It's like it came with that from the factory. So, but the shifter is mounted. We'll figure out the pedal situation later on another day. Like, we got everything bolted in on the engine side, and we even got our nice manifold sitting right there, which it is a little close to the steering shaft, but we'll take that shield off, grind it down, and there'll be plenty of room. But so we got all the room in the world really to work with up here. Me and JT were discussing about the alternator bracket and the power steering pump bracket. I don't think we're gonna have any issues there, which if we do, we got these fancy things called grinders and air tools and stuff. But I think all the piping and stuff will be real easy, because we could put 2 LS engines in here with the space we got up front. So, but my beautiful welds look amazing if you're blind, and everything, I think everything's gonna work great. There's plenty of room under there for the cross member, so I don't know why some people are saying you can't run an F-body pan, but I think it fit great, which most people don't weld their engine mounts in, but we do. So other than that, we got all the interior out of the car, and we got some squirrels that were hanging out, not no more. So we'll get all this cleaned up and figure out the seating arrangement. I do have a old school 4-speed Hertz shifter for this, but we're gonna have to find a different shifter or somehow make a bracket off here for the 2 bolts to go on the side. But it'll come back and curve and sit about right here somewhere, and that'll be perfect for whoever's driving this thing. So we'll figure out the seats and stuff. We got plenty of options, and if we don't have enough options, we'll make it work. But I mean, the floor is pretty solid for what it is. I mean, we got a little hole there, but you know, We got a really,
license plates.
yeah.
Got all kinds of those.
We got a really big hole there. We got, like he said, we all collect license plates because who don't? And we all buy enough shit, but so we'll get it figured out. Like I said, I think we are going to put a cage in the car. We haven't really elaborated much on that, but we always like to be safe. Safety third is my saying. So
Probably do a regular kind of main hoop, and then I don't know, maybe we'll do a 6-point, maybe we'll do an 8-point, maybe we'll come down the A-pillars, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll see what we can come up with price-wise.
it's not like we're going to hurt the dash if we got to cut a hole in it. I mean, it's pretty trashed.
See what's cheap and what we can do with it, but everything, it looks like everything that we would go to on the cage-wise floor is pretty solid. So we should have
I mean,
a good,
we'd probably go right here, and I mean,
we can even go straight through that to the frame and
yeah.
and weld it to the body as well. I mean, that should be no problem at all. We got all kinds of kinds of room to do that. So
We both have plenty of certificates on how to weld.
yes,
So, but we'll get that in there.
professionally amateur.
Right. And we'll figure out how to tie it in correctly. We'll get our, probably should put harnesses in it because this is from 1970 and people were skinnier back then. So I'm not so skinny, but we will figure out what to do and go from there. But I think we're in pretty good shape. We made quite a bit of progress for what was handed to us this week at work. But yeah, right. So
I think once we get the trans cross member in, we'll try and figure out front accessories, manifolds versus forward-facing headers, decide what we want to do there, and then we'll start mocking up hot and cold side and see where we're at there. We need to figure out what we're going to do intercooler and radiator-wise. We'll see what kind of deals we can find on stuff like that, and we'll be set pretty good, I think.
if you guys know of any kits, cheap kits for any plumbing, piping, or anything, let us know. We're all ears for anything. So
We obviously don't want junk, but we do want cheap. So, you know, I mean, a nice give and take there of what we can afford, and try and do this cheap on a budget for guys like us that are doing the same thing or want to do the same thing. So
me and JT were both in here just jabbing jaws a second ago, and we were like, man, how much money do we actually have in this? And so far, we got $300 in it. We just went ahead and bought a LS1 F-body oil pan. Like I said, we paid 80 bucks for that. That's our most expensive purchase so far. I mean,
really, if you're doing this and you don't have nothing, you don't have hand-me-downs, you don't have a car, I would say if we were starting from scratch right here, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, you might be, let's say 23, you might be $4,000 into this, car, engine, you know, if you can find good deals and stuff like that. And still, that's not bad. I mean, like Brendan was saying, we could turn this around and go NA and be done in a week if we wanted to. You know, we could wire it up and put the regular truck manifolds on it and be sitting here making probably 300 wheel and having a fun time.
all right.
We want a little more than that, so we're going to see how cheap we can do it since we do have all this stuff sitting around.
We both had some vehicles with power and without power, so we wanted some Chinese choo-choo noises, so that's what we're going with. And the turbos we're going with are going to be cheap, $125 a piece. I think Richard Holdner does a pretty good video on what them things will make on a stock bottom end 5.3 with a SS2 cam, which I know we don't have a sloppy stage 2 cam, but we got something close, you know. And
It'll do what it needs to do. I mean,
right.
we'll be good. If we make a little less power, so be it. I mean, we can always turn up a couple PSI. It's not a problem.
Right. So we got to figure out what we're going to do on boost controllers, if we're going to do a boost controller or whatnot we're going to do. There's lots of options. So
Stack all the springs.
right, this spring stack,
Old
you know.
school stuff.
Uh-huh. Probably won't have anything fancy, but we might one day if you guys make us famous.
Share it. Do all the things you need to do.
Right.
I know everybody hates hearing that, you know, share, subscribe, all that stuff, but it really does help. We appreciate it, and we're not doing this for the money. We're doing it for fun, and we really do enjoy this. So That's the whole point of the channel.
Right. I mean, we were just talking earlier again, sitting here. It's $3 to $5 per 1,000 views. So we're not becoming rich. Don't think that one bit.
Not making a ton of money off this.
Right. So we're doing this for fun and to see what we can do for nickels on a dollar, you know, quarters, pennies. Hell, we found 27 cents in the change holder. We're probably going to use it. So
Going back to this.
right. But here is the end, and hopefully we'll have you another video shortly with maybe a shiny turbo in the picture. So
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll try and get this out to you as soon as we can. And we'll be back here next weekend doing the same thing.
yep. We might step over on that thing to get it wrapped up. We don't know. We'll decide on a later
Time
date.
will tell.
So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.